Ousted North West ANC chairperson Supra Mahumapelo says he wants a political solution to the deadlock in the province. This as the party at national level appeals a court order to reinstate him. A previous court victory ordered that the disbanded North West Provincial Executive Committee, or PEC, be reinstated. However, its term expired last week. Joining us now to talk more about this is acting spokesperson for the ANC, Legoete. Very good evening to you, and thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and also to the viewers at home.
So let's start with what's going on in the Northwest Province. You are very insistent that you need to appeal this court decision. But the question is, will it not imbue more hostility and disunity as opposed to the unity that you're calling for?
Thank you very much. Let's start with the decision as taken by the National Executive Committee that said over the weekend. We also, as the ANC, took a decision to opt for a political solution to the issue of the Northwest. So what we have done is that we have established a rapid response team that is going to be led by our Deputy Secretary General, Comrade Jesse Duarte, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, and Stomo Dlamini. That is the entourage that will be engaging both the PC and the PTT in the Northwest to try and bring a political solution. So what we have further resolved is that both the PTT and the PC, we are going to collapse them to be part of the provincial elections team, so that everybody in the Northwest is focused in ensuring that we deliver the mandate of the ANC come the 8th of May. So for now, as it is, both structures will be collapsed into an election machinery. But engagement will proceed. And once this particular engagement, which are trying to bring a political solutions, finalize their processes, that particular agreement will be taken to court to make it an order. So what does that
mean? So are you not continuing? Have you aborted your appeal?
Yeah, appeal is part of the things that we are going to review to give space to the political solution, because we don't think that it is prudent for the African National Congress, both as the leader of the society and as a governing party, to wash their dirty linens before the courts. We have capacity as the ANC to can deal with our matters internally. We had a similar situation in KwaZulu-Natal. We opted for a political solution. We have a PC there that is functioning normally. We had a similar situation in Northern Cape, in Eastern Cape, a number of our provinces. And it has shown that when we deal with matters through a political solution, it's far better than dealing with them through the courts, because sometimes the courts make their decisions, which sometimes have an overreach or usurp our constitutional powers of our structures. And it creates unnecessary problems. But as the ANC, we remain committed to the rule of law, would respect the authority of the court, and ensure that all the court orders are implemented.
Allow me to come in there, Mr. Legoete. The suggestion has been made by the former PEC about four proposals on how to deal with this issue, including the number of people that should be in the interim structure that runs the province in the meanwhile. What has your response been?
Look, as part of the political solution, the rapid response team will engage with all role players, including from the PC and the PTT, to come up with a win-win situation for all of us in the Northwest and all of us in the African National Congress, because it is quite embarrassing for us as the ANC, particularly given the fact that we are a ruling party that runs the nation, but we are unable to resolve our own internal matters. It does not augur well for us as the ANC, including for a voter on the street. So it's going to be important even for our comrades in the Northwest to be sincere and considerate, not to continue embarrassing the movement and our people, because the ANC is an instrument of liberation in the hands of our people. It's not our personal fiefdom, and we need to respect that particular aspect.
So let's go on to the case of Mabe. I understand that he will be back at work either within a week or within this week. You say there's no evidence that has been found of sexual harassment. Can you just share with us, how did you arrive at that decision, or the committee that was looking at this case, how did they arrive at that decision? Yes,
let me start it just to give you a background. The matter came to the ANC, after a formal grievance, was raised by the PA of Comrade Mabe, wherein the top 6 of the ANC resolved to bring a panel which was led by Comrade Toko Didiza and Comrade Stumutlamini. That particular panel, so far, it has completed its work in terms of sourcing evidence and all submissions from both parties. And they came to recommendations and a conclusion that the matter related to Comrade Mabe and sexual harassment is cleared of all the charges that he has. The second thing is that, as part of the recommendation, is that we will have to check up our HR matters in the ANC, because no one can make a unilateral change of the conditions of service, be it to increase a salary or to reduce a salary. That particular matter is a matter that needs to be dealt with through our human resources processes. Thirdly, is that as the ANC, we are given 90 days to come up with a sexual harassment policy for both our members and our leaders. And what we have been ordered by the panel is that we need to educate our members and our leaders as part of the fight against gender-based violence.
But before we get to that part, I just want to understand, was it on the basis of evidence? Because I understand that both parties were allowed to cross-examine each other and bring people forth to corroborate the information. Was it found that the incident, the allegation, did not occur at all? Or was he found not to have been guilty of sexual harassment for any other reasons? Because there were allegations of a romantic relationship.
Look, the issue related to the submission of evidence, it was done before the panel. So the panel, after assessing all the submissions from all the parties, they made a conclusion that there is no case of sexual harassment in this matter based on evidence that was submitted before the panel. So as it is now, it's a recommendation that the officials of the ANC have also accepted that there was no case of sexual harassment. And as it is now, Comrade Mabe has been cleared of all the charges related to sexual harassment. And those additional points that I've already raised are matters that the panel has recommended that as the ANC we need to consider, and we need to check up our whole human resources development. Including
education on sexual harassment, which you intend to institute within the next 3 months. Was it because there's a misunderstanding of relations between management and employees about certain behavior that would be considered unprofessional? What is the reason for instituting this?
Look, after all, as the employer of choice, we have an obligation to respect the laws of the Republic. And amongst them is that as the employer, we need to protect our workers. And this particular incident is one of its kind, and it has awakened us from our slumberland. And that's why the panel, because it has been established that there is no internal sexual harassment policy at our workplace. And that in itself makes us vulnerable for not protecting, in particular, our female employees. So we have been instructed by the panel that within 90 days we need to ensure that we comply with the rule of law and ensure that all our employees are protected. And it's best that we do it through a policy.
Not protecting your female employees, is it because lines were crossed in this particular case and in others?
Not necessarily, not necessarily.
So when you say you're not protecting your female employees, what is in reference to?
No, it's in reference to the fact that we did not have an internal policy, which were, by law, we are required to ensure that we have it. But secondly is that in our country there's a scourge of gender-based violence, and if we are not going to conscientize our society and make them aware, embark on public awareness campaigns to ensure that we reduce the possibilities of gender-based violence as well as sexual harassment, which is a component thereof.
I need to ask you a
public
final
awareness
question.
and education is going to be important not only for staff members of the ANC, but for the society at large.
I need to ask a final question. We're asking as our question of the day about the liquidation of Bosasa, and some of the comments from our viewers are suggesting that the ANC, on the basis of allegations made at the state capture inquiry, needs to take some form of accountability for this. And I need to ask you, as the ANC, how do you reply to such suggestions?
Look, as the African National Congress, we are concerned with the development of liquidations because that stands against, it's an antithesis to what we pursue as the African National Congress, that there must be jobs and sustainable jobs, because liquidation is going to lead to retrenchment of workers in Bosasa, and it is estimated that that particular company employs more than 4,500 people. So by inference, it means 4,500 families would be without food tomorrow. And it's even worse that the situation has reached proportions where banks are even also disassociating, where some of the departments are making investigations and some of the provincial government, which we agree, because it's our resolution as the ANC to fight corruption and crime, whether in public or private sector. But the most unfortunate part is that their workers are going to be sacrificed in this regard, and I don't think, as the ANC, we are impressed by that particular development. We would wish that engagement must still pursue. Where possible, somebody can take over this company, or where possible, another investor can take over, who's reputable, who's credible. We don't have a problem of what is raised before the commission. So far as the ANC, we still respect the commission. We still want to encourage all people and members of the ANC who have facts or any information to appear before the commission, because this commission is going to go a long way to assist us, not only as the ANC, but as South Africa, to deal with corruption, even for the next 100 years. People must know you don't aggregate it to yourself to deal with the taxpayers' money the way you want, including both private and public sector.
Thank you very much for your time, Legoete, the acting ANC spokesman.